Good afternoon, everybody. Andy here with South Florida Professionals, and we're coming to you live this morning on June 15th, 2022. And we have with us today the one and only Paul Anastasio. And everybody has heard the news about what's happening in the industry with housing, with mortgages. I mean, if you haven't heard about that, you're living under a rock. But somebody that lives that daily is Paul Anastasio, and we've asked him to come join us here in our group. We have over 8,000 local business owners here. So whether you're buying, renting, thinking of buying, thinking of selling, whatever, you need to know Paul Anastasio. Paul, good morning, sir. How are you today?
Andy, what's going on, buddy? Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to speak with you. And like my shirt says, ask me about mortgages. So I live and breathe the mortgage business. It's a passion of mine, and I'm here to answer any questions and talk a little bit about the market. I will say I'm not a genie, so I can't predict the future, but I can certainly tell you what the trends are and why we're where we're at, and why it's still maybe a good reason to buy or not. And it is a good reason to buy. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
So Paul, I know you say that you're not a genie, but you do have over 26 years experience in the industry. Whether that qualifies you as a genie or not, well, I don't know. But that's a whole lot of years talking mortgages and fulfilling people's dreams of home ownership. Now, let's just jump. Let's just jump right in. What's happening with the rates, man?
Man, thank you for that, Andy. A lot of years means a lot of experience is good and bad. So I've learned through them all, thank God. But what's happening with the rates is inflation is at an all-time high. It's inflation, I think it's 40-year high. That's where it's at. So the Fed has had to raise the rates, right? The federal fund rates, which theoretically doesn't affect the mortgage rates, but it does. So, now we're seeing rates in the fives and sixes. And, when 2 years ago, when Corona hit, people were seeing rates in the twos and high ones. So now that has really shocked people, and understandably, for somebody like myself that's been in the market for many many years, the rates don't scare me, because I've done mortgages at 11 and 12%, and some of my peers have done them at 18%. Yes, appreciation levels weren't as high, so now property values are high, which is a good thing. But obviously, with higher rates, maybe it's a little bit more difficult to qualify. But still, I want to definitely address any concerns about the rates. And yeah, I mean, the main thing is inflation. The Fed is going to raise the rate probably today. They meet today at 2 o'clock, and more than likely, they're saying that it's going to be a half a point to a 0.75 hike in the federal funds rate, which is a rate that banks lend to one another, which indirectly does affect mortgage bonds, which affect interest rates.
Folks, as you've heard already, and we're just getting started here, most of the language that Paul is talking about, maybe many of you don't understand, me being one of them. Paul, what is a good number for somebody to get in contact with you at?
305-336-0383. Again, 305-336-0383. That is my direct cell. You could call, text me. And if you want to email me, it's paul@loansbypaul.net.
All right. So for those of you that are watching now or just watching this on the replay, if you have any questions at all, get in contact with Paul. Paul, let's go ahead and continue. We have a lot of people that are renting, a lot of renters that possibly feel trapped. They're like, I can't afford to buy. How does that work?
Well, I feel for those people. And honestly, a couple of years ago, when I was speaking to prospective clients that were afraid because of what the market may do, those people that are renting 2 years ago, what we're seeing, Andy, in South Florida and major markets is 38% increase in rents. I mean, that's, on a $2,000 a month rental, you're now at almost $3,000. And landlords are getting away with it, so what can you do is you can speak to a professional like myself and see what is your number. I mean, it may, for me right now, if you're renting a house right now and you have the ability to buy a townhome or a condo and avoid paying rent, then by all means, this is something, in my opinion, you should consider doing, because when you're paying rent, you're really putting that money in your landlord's pocket, right? That rental payment essentially it's got infinite. You're not getting equity. You're not paying down your loan. So if you have the ability to buy something smaller, maybe pay a little bit more, if anything. Maybe this is the time. Maybe it's something that you buy with a relative, right? Maybe, you know, I'm dealing with a lot of families that they have the mom, the dad, and then the daughter buying a place. So maybe that's something that you could do as well. Maybe you're missing that one income to help you qualify. But again, if you're in a position to buy, home prices are not going to go down anytime soon. And hopefully people have realized what has happened in the last 2 years with appreciation values.
Again, folks, we're live right now. If you're looking at us live, you have that live indicator, that red indicator on your screen. You can post questions here on the chat. If you're watching on the replay, you can post questions afterwards as well. We'll make sure that Paul sees them and he replies to you. So, Paul, I know that you work with multiple programs depending on the condition of the potential home buyer, the borrower. You know, there's a lot of terminology out there. Most people may or may not have an idea on that path. What are the most popular paths or processes that are available to future home buyers?
You know, we hear a lot of times about first-time home buyers and these programs, and there are some government programs, and they've recently come out that are going to help teachers, cops, nurses. They're going to give them up to $25,000. You know, towards a down payment. The issue that we're seeing with that is the sellers are taking the higher offers. If you go to the county now and apply for these programs, right, some of these MD programs that give you down payment assistance, sellers, unfortunately, because of the demand, are more than likely are not going to accept your offer, which is not fair, but it is what it is. But you got programs with FHA that you can buy a home with 3.5% down. That go, you know, a single family will go up to 460,000 in Dade and Broward County. You have conventional financing between 3 and 5% down. Typically, you're going to require 5% because the property, the loan amounts have gone up to now 660 or 650,000 on a conventional loan. So with 5%, you could buy that. So again, 5% or 3.5%. By the way, that money could be a gift from a relative. So let's say, you know, you don't have the money, but you have the job. A relative could give you that, could give it, basically give that to you as a gift. And that's totally allowed under FHA and conventional guidelines. When you're buying a house, you're looking at three things. You're looking at income, credit, and assets. Is what you're looking at, basically. So if you have the income and the credit, you don't have the assets, but your mom and dad have it, your mom and dad can help you. Why would your parents want to see you renting and throwing money? You're basically, when you're paying rent, you're basically paying infinite interest because your money is earning nothing. So if you have the opportunity to buy, even though it's high right now, again, go back to 2 years ago where people thought that the world was going to end and the housing market was going to go down to the ground, and look what's happened. Yeah, rates were lower, so it allowed people to buy more. But again, it's all relative. I mean, your rent is going up. So wouldn't you rather put money into your own home, build a legacy, leave something for your children, build something for the future for you? Do you see yourself paying rent when you're 75, 80 years old, you know, and continue to pay? Or do you want to build equity right now so that when you're older, you can retire more, you know, as we say in Spanish, tranquilo? So some things to think about.
Tranquilo. So, Paul, you are bilingual. Actually, you are trilingual, aren't you?
I'm trilingual and a half because I do understand Italian, but I do speak Portuguese. I'm originally from Brazil. So I Spanish, Portuguese, English, of course, and I understand the Italian. So if you're Italian, call me. I'll be able to reply in English or Spanish.
And you know, here in South Florida, we have such a diverse community that is absolutely a plus if you're dealing with a mortgage professional and English is not your native language. You want to be sure that you understand the process and the terminology and for it to be explained to you in a language that you're familiar with. Paul, so we may have some people watching that say, hey, you know what, I may have some money. My parents can probably give me some money, but you know, I just don't know how this process works. I know, Paul, it begins with a phone call to you, but what happens after that phone call? Can you just go over that process? So if anybody has been afraid of going down that road, you know, just explain how, por arribita, Spanish, right? Por arribita, that process.
Right, as you say, por encima. Yeah, great question, Andy. You just give me a call. I mean, we have a conversation like two friends. I have a passion to help people own home, build wealth, utilizing real estate. Real quick, it goes back to my mother, 1988, when she couldn't buy a house. I was 18 years old. That's dating me that I'm 51 today, almost 52. But like my mom couldn't buy a home, and that stuck with me. I was raised by a single mom. I remember the day my mom came home, she couldn't buy the house. She was sad, and that kind of stuck with me. So I have a legit love to help people own a home. So you give me a call, we have a conversation, I find out your goals. One thing about me, I'm going to be always transparent. So even if it's bad news, I'm going to try and soften it with love, but I'm going to tell you, hey, you're not ready, but let's make a plan so that you're ready. But let's say you maybe are ready, then we talk about goals, right? We talk about realistic goals, right? Where are you looking to buy? What's the price range? And there are many websites that you can do that, right? I know a ton of great realtors. I will refer you to the best one, I can assure you. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what it starts with, a conversation essentially of just you and I talking about your goals, where you're working at, how your finances are, your income, go over your bills a little bit, because what I do is math. It's simple math. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's simple math. So we go over it, and then if we see that there is an opportunity, then we go to the next step, which is for you to apply. You go to my website, you apply, totally free. We review your financials, we review your income, we review your assets. And then once you get your pre-qualified, then we pair you with a realtor that will find you the property. And one of the cool things that we'll do, Andy, is that on many occasions, we can approve your loan prior to having a property. So we'll do, let's say you're qualified for a $400,000 property. We'll run your loan through an underwriting system that will basically approve it with conditions. So it will give us a commitment, really, pending a property, pending a contract and appraisal, title, and insurance. So we'll have a loan approved, and then we can close it in 10 days. So those are the services that we could do for you that may be a little bit different that others can't do. But at the end of the day, what we bring to the table is really our experience and our passion to help people.
Wow. It sounds difficult, Paul, but you make it sound so easy, my friend. Folks, it begins with a phone call, 305-336-0383. We're going to have that number down on the comment section below. Paul, Anastasio, I want to thank you for your time, my friend. I want to thank you for explaining the path to home ownership as simple as you did. We have a few people watching live. A lot more people are going to watch this on the replay on Facebook. Folks, if you're renting today, look no further. Just get in contact with Paul Anastasio, 305-336-0383. Paul, one last question. Is there a fee to consult with you?
Zero fee. The call is always free. And one thing I want to give you guys a little gold nugget before I leave. If you are a homeowner today, insurances have gone up. I encourage you, contact your insurance agent, contact another insurance agent, get a quote on, have somebody review your insurance policy. Right now, you should do that. If you want a home, call your insurance agent. Hey, I need you to review my policy. If you're not happy with his or her answer, call me. I have the best insurance agent that I work with that's in my network. I will give you his information. He will review your policy for free. If he can save you $50, $100 a month, it can make a huge difference on that interest rate issue that we're talking about. So keep that in mind. That's a little gold nugget for all of you that are homeowners right now, to check your policies for your insurance right now. Do it today. You'll thank me later.
That's a great gold nugget. But if you want to reach the gold mine, 305-336-0383, contact Paul Anastasio, South Florida's mortgage professional, member of South Florida Professionals. Paul, that shirt you have, what does that say on that? Ask me about mortgages. What a rock star, folks. Paul, it's been great talking to you, buddy. We look forward to doing these more often with you so you can keep South Florida informed on the pulse of South Florida real estate and lending and mortgages. Folks, again, 305-336-0383. Paul Anastasio, Mortgage Loans by Paul. Check him out. Give him a call. Tell him you heard about him in South Florida Professionals. Talk to you soon. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you guys. Take care. All the best.